Alright, this is episode 5 of Cowboy Bebop called A Ballad of Fallen Angels. That's it, no more. It's episode 5. From here on out, it's all shit that matters. I mean, not that the other thing didn't matter, it's just this shit matters more. It focused a lot on Spike's backstory. We see that that somebody very important to him is being put up for a bounty of 25 million oolongs, which by the beginning
28 million.
Something like that.
Yeah.
By the beginning of the episode, he's already dead, so there's no point of it. The whole point of it was that it's about Spike and his friend, somebody from his past that he cares for a lot, which is why he got into a fight with Jet in the first place. Mm-hmm. Because it's something important to him, and this is the first time that Spike shows interest in actually going after a bounty.
And Jet's probably used to him saying it's not worth it, even though he knows that it's not worth it, that they could probably die doing this. It solves the crime syndicate.
Yeah, but then also usually Jet says the other bounties they go for are usually like in the single digits, like 1 or 2 million woolongs.
Yeah,
this is 20 something woolongs, and he can tell that this is a dangerous job. And by the way that Spike's acting, he knows something else is up, which is why he doesn't tell him about shit.
Yeah, he's not acting like. Well, he's still acting like a reckless piece of shit, but he's acting like a very serious, reckless piece of shit.
Right, exactly. A lot of it is being told, even if there's no dialogue said, you can assume. In fact, while we were watching this, the part in which Vicious, who has the connection to Spike, who used to be, his comrade or whatever, they're fighting, and he has a sword against his chest, and Spike has the gun against him. Mm-hmm. I actually thought that was the last episode of the show.
A lot of people would.
Yeah, because I don't know. I was told that when I was younger, this is like the last episode of the show. Yeah. And I was like, what the fuck?
I bet you're really surprised now.
Yeah,
what?
It's like this is 5? Yeah, it's so confusing to me. So I just didn't get that, but it's cool. I think it's something I think the reason people said that to me when I was younger is also because when Spike falls out the window, you could cut the episode right there, and it could be an ambiguous ending. Yeah. Like if you place this at the very end of the show, it's ambiguous.
They have 2 more encounters, and a lot of people argue that this was their best encounter, and it should have been their last fight too.
So we see Vicious. Vicious obviously is just as good as he is when it comes to everything else. Spike got shot.
You have to also mention that this is the first time the first major villain of the show is also introduced. Even though he's mostly Spike's villain, he does kind of affect everyone. Yeah, because he's the one that captures Faye as she goes looks for the lead about Mao Ryan, something like that. I forgot how to say his last name. But yeah, he's basically the first and probably the most important antagonist at this moment. And he's very menacing. Like just from hearing his voice and the way he carries himself, you see he kind of like when you see a movie with a really good villain, he kind of controls the room. Any room he's in, when you hear his voice, hear him saying shit, you see that he takes charge of the room.
Yeah, which is good. That's what you want out of a villain. You want him to basically steal the presence, which is something that I know it's kind of unrelated, but it's something that the Marvel movies lack of. Besides the fact of Loki and Thanos, all the other villains don't mean shit.
Yeah. It's like anytime you see the Joker in the Dark Knight in a scene, even if it's against the hero or a bunch of multiple actors who are great, he's the one who's the head of the room. Yeah, even though he's the villain. Like the first scene where Vicious creeps up on Faye, and there's all these people in the room, but when he's speaking to her, you just see the fear in her eyes and just his voice, and you feel it. You feel him taking control.
Yeah, so that's good. That's what makes the antagonist more menacing and more threatening. Now, 2 episodes ago, I mentioned that I wasn't going to talk about the fucking music anymore because I fucking keep saying that it's really good. And I get that, but I got to make an exception here.
For the
sole fact that it's not only called the Ballad of the Fallen Angels, which is referencing when angels fall from heaven and become devils, which is what Vicious said when he sees Spike, but ballads and power ballads. Power ballads were super huge in the 80s with hair metal and all the other stuff. And it was so great that when he goes inside the church to go meet Vicious, halfway through the song, it becomes a power ballad. Yeah. Where you hear that sweet fucking guitar riff that you're just like, okay, some shit's about to go down. This is really dope.
And then had a lot of music put in that was it set the tone perfectly.
Yeah, and the music during Spike's flashback as he's falling.
That one was the best one. Yeah. You feel it. You feel it. You're watching the flashback go between present and past, and the music just adds to it, and you just feel the emotion, even though there's no words being said. It's just images and music.
And like I said before, also the animation when it comes to fight scenes is always really great in this show, because not only is the show very short in terms of how many episodes it is, but they specifically like chose the right moments to spend their money, like their animation budget on. So it's always the fights, and it's always the fights that essentially count. I know there's another fight with this short fat dude later on that's really good too.
Oh my god!
The only reason I even know about that fight is because on MySpace, any anime person that had anything related to Cowboy Bebop, they put that gif of the fucking fat dude running up to them.
That episode, as you know, it's also the same creator of Samurai Champloo, but that episode is very reminiscent of the episode where Mugen got his ass beat by the guy who can slash wind. And he had to train and fight that guy. That's the equivalent of Cowboy Bebop.
Okay.
Where it's a random episode, but he's faced against an opponent who is leaps ahead of him in terms of skill level. So you have to kind of rely on your luck and your wits to try to like get out of that situation.
It was good all around. And like I said, no more bullshit. There's a straight all about what's going on now. This is all what's going on now. This is what I gotta see. I know they're gonna have 1 or 2 episodes that are like kind of jokey or in the middle.
No, they're gonna have a few, but also just so you know, it does take a step back from his overall story. It takes a step back for a few episodes. Not to say that the others are pointless. Like some of the other episodes, even 2-parters, are gonna reference Faye and Jet. Focus primarily on them and which is what their past entails, you know.
Which is what I also want, because I'm interested in Jet, because he used to be an ISSP police or whatever. So I know that's one of the
and then another thing you notice in this episode, they reference that he went through some fucked up shit.
Yeah, because he has no arm. Yeah.
But then it's like cut off, but it's like you're still like, okay, no, I need to know what happened with this later on.
Yeah. So now it's the fucking end of the video. So next, I don't know, just tune in for the next episode, where I'm gonna be by myself in my demon lit room, and I'll just see what happens.